putting yourself on the other side of this pandemic and going and realizing that it will pass, and maintaining that, knowing that it will pass, and therefore taking decisions now in your life to feel good and make decisions to create projects or ideas that perhaps you haven't had the time to do before, and do them now, because when things go back to normal, it's going to be a good time. Like I was saying, New Zealand have their live industry back. There's performing, there's concerts. I got a lot of friends in the music industry who are feeling pretty helpless, with feeling a bit lost and feeling like live music will never return. And I felt like that for a little while too. So the phrase, "Do you see the other side of here?" sort of popped into my head when I was walking on the beach. And when that sort of clicked in my head, it made me as a musician and a mainly live performer feel a lot better, because it gave you that perspective to go, well, hold up, let's look forward and remember this is temporary. So, I would like the song to inspire optimism in people, so they don't feel down and out, Very talented friend. I don't think it took more than 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I ran up there with I'm not a videographer, but I ran up there with my mate's camera and his gimbal, he's a professional wedding videographer. And I ran up there and we just ran around there on the skates to the song for 5 or 10 minutes at 7 o'clock in the morning. And we managed to get some good shots. There were a couple of people, actually, it was quite funny, sitting on the edge. Obviously, they just watched the sun come up at the lighthouse. And we've come up there, after 2 coffees or something, really excited. And I've put the UE boom down and I've cranked the song, as loud as I possibly can. And we're running around and getting the footage. And this really peaceful couple, sort of, in shawls and things, came across to me and they're like, "Hey man, could you maybe not play that again?" Because I didn't realize they've just been watching this. They'd have this peaceful meditation watching the sunrise. So we just came in with this loud pop music. I'm so sorry, but it only took us 10 minutes. So we were in, we got the shot, and then we left. Solo gigs are really fun because you get to take the songs where you feel they need to go at the time that you're playing them. So you can be a lot more experimental, especially vocally. I like taking songs, either songs of my own or other people, and taking the melody somewhere different. And sometimes that really does change depending on who you're playing to and where you are. You can't often do that in a band when you've got people doing harmonies with you. But then at the same time, when you've got a band, you've got the rhythm section behind you, and you've got all this playfulness with being able to solo and find different rhythms and riffs to sort of work between. So there's good in both. I like just in everyday life. I like writing about things that everybody can relate to. One of the biggest things that I've noticed myself as a songwriter growing is writing songs now to try to make people feel connected and uplifted, as opposed to writing songs perhaps that are maybe more about yourself, rather, everyone, there's been enough songwriters whinging about their lives. I don't think we need more of that, so I want to write songs that put things into perspective and perhaps inspire a new way to look at things, rather than just singing about, I've got a problem here, I've got a problem here, that's great, but for me right now, that's not where I'm at. Writing, it was one of those things. I've always been performing so frequently that I don't often get the chance or have the energy to write. I do a lot of traveling and a lot of late nights, so that creative energy isn't always there. But one of the things that came through over lockdown was more time, and wanting to make the best use of that time. Writing was what I was sort of doing, and I get really lost in writing. In a good way. I totally. It can take me 2 hours or 15 minutes to write a song, or 2 weeks or 2 months. Like, everything is so different depending on what it is. I've been writing everything from, you know, this disco pop to 90s rock to like Adele fucking ballads. You know, there's a bit of everything. So, you know, and I would happily stay doing that for a long time, but, you know, I've got to go out and play some shows to make some money as well. But that's one of the things that I've found I really, really enjoy. You know, I've always written little bits here and there, but really immersing yourself in different styles and playing with that is really, really soul enriching. No one's asked me for a song yet. I like the ski bar gigs. Down in Perisher, we've got snowfields at the bottom of New South Wales. And there's a bar there called, a hotel called the Man from Snowy River Hotel. And in their bar, on a couple of days of the week, it really goes off. You get all the stuff from the mountain coming in, and, you know, it's just this warm, sweaty vibe where the dance floor is super small. You're in a corner. It's really cozy inside, and it's snowing outside. But you're inside and you've got maybe 50 or 80 people just right up close to you, and you feel like you're part of the. You actually are part of it. People are like literally around you. You know, that's one of the things, you know, obviously I miss the most is that sort of closeness and intimacy of a small gig like that. But the other place that I obviously love is, you know, here in Byron, the Great Northern Hotel. I play there a lot. They support me a lot. I play the front bar. I play the back room. But, you know, I like the back room. That's fun. But what I really like, because I've done it for so many years, is small bars with really tight, you know, sardine-like crowds all singing songs. Like, there's nothing better than that. I love it. There's just this energy that comes together when you get all those people in a room. Oh, I mean, there's some probably bigger venues I'd like to do one day. I'd like to get across to Western Australia. It's beautiful over there. I've never really performed. I've only travelled. The coastline is absolutely amazing. So yeah, Western Australia would be my next sort of spot I'd like to hit. When you're doing, I found when I was doing the rock and roll and bluesy stuff, I was wanting to make it more poppy, which sort of defeats the purpose of doing the rock and roll blues. So then I've started doing the poppy stuff with Velshur, which is really exciting because then you can, you know, there's so many different flavors. Poppy's awesome. Poppy's so cool because there's so many different flavors of it, you know, and it's always sort of changing. And so that keeps you as a songwriter, I think. You have to keep pretty on the seat of what's happening, which pushes you to always sort of have your ears open and experiment. And so that's really fun with the pop. And then when you're doing the pop, you know, you might do like 2 or 3 songs, and then this idea for this rock and roll blues song will come in that you didn't get before because you were just stuck in like writing like you're in the 1950s or the 1960s, which can be a little limiting. But then when you come across to the pop, that opens up other. It's weird. It's like this crazy thing. I think maybe it's just like a writer's brain, but it just when you do both, it actually seems to make, rather than take from either, it actually seems to make both better. Because my good friend Starmy Romy makes a lot of the fashion ads here, and when I had more time to do some writing, I started doing some writing and producing for the ads she was making. We did a couple of Oraton campaigns. She did a Mew Mew thing, and most recently I've just sort of wrapped up 2 little jingles for Cora Organic Skincare, which is Miranda Kerr's skincare brand. So that's cool. It's really fun doing that stuff because you know it's a different. You can do. You have to do every different style. You know, it's not about. It's about what the directors and the editors want, you know, for the ad. So you have to push yourself to do all these different styles and make it work. And, you know, initially it's like, well, fuck, that's not me. But then if you just push through, you can do it. It's really fun. I think, one of the things that's propelling me to write for both my solo stuff and Velshur is to have a really diverse body of work so that you can, open the doors to sync licensing and have your songs have a body of work already that people might find really interesting and think that might work in a movie or a film, rather than, I don't know if I could do, I'm definitely not, I haven't been to songwriting school. I couldn't go and score a film, but if I have a song that's nice and someone would like that in a movie, that'd be great. I used to, I'm 28 now. When I was first started performing full-time at 18, I just wanted to be so rock, and I was wrecking my voice every night, screaming and doing all sorts of, silly technique. But now I want to make music that doesn't make people go, holy shit. It makes you want to listen and just feel like, chocolate or water or something, So, the biggest one at the moment is Khalid. I'm a really big fan of Khalid. I like his melodies and what he writes about lyrically. I really like, and that's been a really big inspiration, a real big turning point in the way that I lyricize songs. What else have I got on here? Let's have a quick little look. The other thing. Oh, see, Rolling Stones. I'm always streaming those guys. Just lots of. It's a really mixed bag. I listen to from Tom Petty to Charlie Puth. It just depends on what sort of mood I'm in. But yeah, definitely very inspired by bass line and clean drums at the moment. Just write as much as I can. I'd like to get an album out for Velshur and my solo project. We'll see what happens with travel, obviously. I'd like to get across to the UK and relocate over there so I can see my dad and my sister a little more. But, we'll just have to see what happens. But until then, it's just, writing as much as I can. Wide range. That was pretty cool.